Once your report has finished running, you will move to part 3, downloading and reviewing your report. In Service Point, after you run the report, you may receive a Retrieving Data notification. This notification simply will let you know that there is no data in the report in a particular section. This shouldn't necessarily be alarming, but it would be good to note what sections are missing data. Here we see that there's no data to retrieve in this report in the Neighbors Served section. So anytime I would be looking in this report for a neighbor served, I could anticipate that no information would be there. You may also see, section 8 is missing information, section 14 is missing information. Again, this isn't necessarily something that would be alarming or of concern, but it is an indication if the information is flowing from Service Point into this report. Simply click OK to dismiss this message. What I would like everyone to do is actually to review this report outside of Service Point. Download this report as a PDF and work from that PDF document to complete your review. In order to download or open a PDF, you'll come to the top left-hand corner in the document area and choose the black icon next to document. You'll come to Save to My Computer As and select PDF. Notice that I did not select Save Report to My Computer As this simply would have saved only one tab or one page of my report. I want to save the entire report, so I'm going to choose Save to My Computer As and select PDF. This will open or save the report to your computer by choosing the option that you select. In opening the report, you're going to get a multi-page document that gives a lot of information, both of aggregated types as well as detailed client demographic information. We're going to go section by section through this report to make sure that you know what each section is pertaining to, but then also how to correct any data entry errors that you may see. Sections 1, 2, 3, and 4 of this report are all completed by the system administrator of the Service Point software. In order to make any changes in sections 1, 2, 3, or 4, you'll need to send an email or make a phone call to the VOA Service Point Help Desk, and we'll get that information added. I should note that for this webinar, for this recording, I went ahead and blacked out different areas throughout the report. When you run this report, it will actually show that information. I chose to black it out just for privacy reasons, not to share the particular service coordinator I'm working with, as well as the residents that they serve. But in your report, you won't see that black information. If you do see a blank or an incorrect piece of information, again, you will need to contact the Service Point Help Desk. Section 5 of the report really pertains to all of your residents and participants. Sections 5A and 5B all require an entry into your property. This is where we're going to be looking at the ages and the ADL functional status of each of your residents. In order to determine if a resident is coming into the right area, for instance, if I wanted to find out who this one non-elder person was, I would simply go to the demographic details or the ADL detail summary in order to find that information. In the ADL detail summary, you'll see each of the ADL categories as well as the response recorded for that person. It also shows the age of that individual person, and you could simply go through the list to find the person that does not meet the criteria that you're looking for. You can find persons that have missing ADL assessments. You can also find persons that have missing ages or incorrect data entry completed. Coming back to the aggregate data, Section 5C is pertaining to residents served as a neighborhood resident. In order for a person to be counted as a neighbor and not a property resident, they must meet 4 criteria. The first criteria is that they have an entry into your program. The second is that they have a response to the question, neighborhood resident, as yes. The neighborhood resident question is found at the intake assessment that is completed on behalf of all program participants. Third, the resident must not have an entry to your property. They cannot be residing at your property and be counted as a neighborhood resident. And last, the resident must have received a service by the service coordinator selected in the prompts. What this means is that if you are not actively adding services to your neighborhood residents, they will not pull into this report. Section D is regarding first-timers. The first-timer section of this report looks at the entry date of the person, as well as if they're a neighborhood resident or if they are moving into the property for the first time. To look and see where these numbers are coming from, you'll again go to the demographic details. What you'll look at are the columns labeled neighborhood resident, first timer, and new resident. Scrolling down, you'll see each of the responses, and anytime that there is a response of yes, that resident is getting counted. So for instance, this resident 3381 is getting counted as both a first timer and a new resident. The reason why they are getting counted as a new resident is that they have a property enrollment within the time period of the semi-annual report. The reason that they're getting counted as a first timer is because they have a program enrollment within the time parameters of the semi-annual report. The next section of the HUD semi-annual report is the services section, section 6. The services section looks exclusively at the services that you have given to residents. In order to find the detailed information about this tab, you'll come to the tabs called Service Details and Service Details by Residents. Service details will show each of your residents and the name as well as the total number of services that they've been given. So you'll see that resident 842 has received 26 services during the time period, where client 857 has received 0 services during the time period. If you wanted to know further details about each of these contacts and how many services were given, you'll come to the Service Details by Resident tab. This will show you the ID number as well as the name, and then the specific service that you gave to the resident and how many you gave them. What you'll notice is that you have two columns. The first column is the service point code, and the second column is how it got reported in the semi-annual report. You'll notice that the service point code is often more specific than the semi-annual report code. So service point codes of benefits energy assistance as well as benefits SSDI both get put into the benefits/entitlements area. If there's any question of what is getting reported in the semi-annual report, you'll look at this fourth column in order to match up what is going on in service point. Section 7 of the semi-annual report looks at all of the data you have completed regarding exits from your property. In order to review the data regarding aging in place statistics and exits, you'll come to the page in your report called Exit Details. Exit Details will have two tables. It will show your current reporting period as well as your previous reporting period. This will show all of the persons who moved out in the different time periods, where they moved to, and then what is the aging in place category that they were put into for the HUD semi-annual report. The last section of the HUD semi-annual report are sections 8 through 14. Sections 8 through 14 are exclusively collected from your administrative data. This is where you complete EDA, choose your service coordination client, and complete the data entry on that client profile page. All of the information that you complete on that data entry page is taken screen by screen, line by line to this report. If there's any information in sections 8 through 14 that is incorrect, you'll want to follow the instructions on the form that you downloaded to correct that data. First, you'll need to access the administrative section within Service Point, and then access the administrative profile. Once you've completed those two steps, you will open the record and complete all of your data entry. Now, one area that is particularly sensitive is Section 8, regarding time allocation of monthly tasks. If in this section you list anything other than a number with a properly formatted decimal, it will show an error in this section. In order to troubleshoot any errors in Section 8, you'll come to your time allocation details, and it will show all of the all of the responses that you gave. And what you'll want to find is any time where you did not use a properly formatted number or decimal. You'll want to go back and correct that record to make sure that it is a properly formatted number or decimal. Once you have completed all of this review and made your necessary corrections in Service Point, you are ready to submit your final report. You have two options for submitting your final report. The first option is to come back into Service Point, come to the Public folder, open the Service Coordination folder, and this time, instead of running the 2015 detail report, you're going to run the 2015 report only. When you download this report, it will only download those first 3 pages of the report that aggregate client information so that you can send that on to HUD as well as to Donna Thurmond. The second option is as I described in the first snippet, which is that you can go to the HUD Semi-Annual Report website, download their blank document, and complete the report manually. You really only want to use this method if you are unable to complete your data entry into Service Point or have chosen to make some corrections manually. If you do go this route of completing the report manually, I would like to be notified about the reason why.